I don't know whether Mom ever really loved her car when she had it. It was only after the accident that this love was expressed, and expressed often, and with a vigilance reserved for a car enthusiast, or the owner of some fancy, high-priced sports or luxury car. Hers was a silver Honda Civic. A good car indeed, but pedestrian, and one would think easily replaced. Not easily enough. About halfway through the ordeal, it started with an accident in April, and it's the end of June now. A letter from the insurance company came to Dad, and it may or may not have stated that the company would pay for over and above the $10,000 amount it valued Mom's totaled Civic for, if Mom and Dad could find a similar car for sale. I hesitate to categorically state what was in the letter because I didn't see it, and I heard more than one explanation of what was written therein. Dad was convinced, at any rate, that this entitled Mom to pick out any used Civic she saw, regardless of price, year, or mileage. When they started to look online for potential replacements, a feat in itself, I learned the details of Mom's love for the old car. Even the high-priced, much newer, barely driven models were not good enough, and this had nothing to do with cost, because Dad still believed that the insurance company would pick up the tab. It was just about the car itself. What she wanted was the exact same car she had. The same year. You see, it had to be the same year because of the seats. No, not because of the comfortable bucket seat for the driver, or the back row that could fit 3, which is an important consideration when toting grandchildren around. No, it was because the seat cover she had made to keep the actual seat fabric clean. This faded, worn, denim-looking cover was originally made for her 1987 Civic, which was white, by the way, and had kept that car's seat fabric looking like new until the engine died in 2004. Luckily, except for lovers of aesthetics, the seat covers fit the Silver Civic. But now, what if they didn't fit the new models? The cars look so different from the outside. The same mileage. This, of course, was impossible to find. Mom drove almost every day, but she frequented only a couple of places, all within a tight radius. Our house, which was half a mile away. Acme, where she worked, which was a little bit further than our house. ShopRite, where she shops. Acme's prices are so high, which is at most 2 miles away. And the thrift store, where she gives away Dad's old clothes only for him to come and buy them back later, which is possibly 3 miles away. Dad had convinced her that any car with any more mileage than she had been overdriven and probably abused by the previous driver. The same options. This was the kicker, the single most insurmountable hurdle. She didn't want a moonroof. Why would I use it? And what if it leaked? Do you think they leak? She didn't want a CD player unless it came with a tape player. She only had tapes. Forget an MP3 jack. The locks had to be manual. No buttons to unlock the passenger or rear doors. What if they got stuck? How would I get out? And the clincher, only manual windows. This evidently was what she truly loved about the Civic. The hand crank, annoying as hell, have to reach all the way across the passenger seat to get some cross-ventilation windows. All the newer cars had automatic windows. Needless to say, she didn't find a car that fit the bill. And as it turned out, after a week of fruitless internet searches and several back-and-forth phone calls with insurance agents, the company made clear it was only going to pay $10,000. That was it. The letter that offered the magic of much, much more money for a car went poof and was never spoken of again. Just what happened to cause the accident, you ask? In one word, Mom. She either didn't stop at the stop sign before making her left turn, or didn't see the other car coming, or both. This was the conclusion of the policewoman, and even my wife agreed. And initially, at least for a day, Mom agreed too. I picked her up the next day and drove her to our house to help with the baby. I didn't see her. I guess I didn't stop. I didn't see her. But within a few days, the story had changed slightly. I stopped. I always stop. I don't know why the police officer said I didn't stop, but I didn't see her. And a few days later, I stopped. That policewoman is an AH for yelling at me for not stopping. Of course I stopped. And that woman, the driver of the other car, had to be speeding. That's why I didn't see her. What do you think? I had stopped thinking about the accident and what happened. It was a moot point to me. My wife and I had moved on. She had called the insurance company. I had retrieved the police report from the station. She had emptied the contents of the car after it was determined to be totaled. Babe, why didn't you leave the seat covers? I had paid the traffic ticket. All of this to put less strain on Mom, who was still stressed and obviously obsessing about the accident, and Dad, whose blood pressure skyrocketed on the thought of paying money because of Mom's mistake. My salvation from hearing about the car came from an odd source, Obama. It was that night, luckily, that he came out in support of gay marriage. This was in 2012, before the election. So the next morning, when Mom came over and started with, "Dad got a call from the insurance company yesterday, and our rates are going to go up by $400 a year. Is that right? What do you think?" I was prepared with conversation to distract her. "Did you hear about Obama?" "Yes. Dad is so upset. He says he's not going to vote for him anymore." I was actually surprised by this. They'd always voted for Democrats. "Really? Why?" "It's just a ploy to get more votes. That's the only reason he did it. I think Dad is right. I don't know if I can vote for him." "Really?" I still couldn't believe it. As if there were millions of gay Republicans who would be swayed to vote for Obama because of this decision. I said as much. "But it's not right. Marriage is between a man and a woman. That's the way it should be." "How does it hurt you, though?" "A man and a man. Do you know how they have S?" Mom is coming over with a new car today. It's been a few days since she decided to buy it. First, she had to look it over once. The next day, she test drove it. Then she wanted my wife to go with her to buy it. It took my wife to give her a big pep talk to actually go and purchase it. "Just go buy it. You don't need me to look at it. If you like it, buy it. You can do it." And she did. She drove the car home today. And she drove it on the highway for some 10 miles. This was bold indeed. I couldn't believe it, though, when I saw the car. It wasn't a Civic. It was silver. It did have about the same amount of mileage. And for a 4-year-old car, this was almost unbelievable to me. But it was a Honda Fit. Okay, right. It's about the same car. It is a small, sedan-like, 2-wheel drive Honda. But all she had ever talked about and looked at was a Civic. But don't worry, the old seat covers still fit.